and then I'll tweet it.
I think this hail core is coming down.
Yeah, it looks like it.
They trimmed the warning too. Had they said anything in chat about whether they're going to extend it?
No, it was canceled only because the core moved out of Humphreys County. It's still warned for the core that's just north of White Bluff, but
I just asked her.
yeah, it's difficult to say that there's much hail in it. There's not very much of a CC drop.
Yeah.
There's some. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's hail in there, but usually we get a little bit more of a CC drop at that level when it's big, because I would assume there'd be bigger ones mixed in.
So much fun. So
Well, hey, we do have some people that have joined us. We have about 20. We're gonna.
hi, everybody.
I need to get the link to that, so hang on just a second. And
Hi, everybody.
let's get that.
How about a radar shot?
Yeah. Let me pull up radar here.
This will be a quick
this will be long.
broadcast because they're not going to extend this warning into Nashville.
Hey, David, can you talk about what's going on here? And I'm going to get a link out.
Yeah, sure. So there's a severe thunderstorm warning out to our west, and it was warned not for wind, but for 60-mile-an-hour hail. I mean, 60-mile-an-hour winds is in the warning, but the warning was for 1-inch hail. There's pretty good evidence of a core of the storm that was probably dropping large hail near Dixon, kind of north of Dixon and north of White Bluff over by Highway 70 over there. And as it's moved closer to us at about 35 miles an hour, the core of the storm, which has been producing hail, has started to drop a little bit, which is to say that it was taller before, and a taller storm is more likely to produce hail. And now the storm is not as tall. And when that happens, it's difficult to produce any large hail. And so for the severe thunderstorm warning, you need 1-inch hail, which is about the size of a quarter in diameter. And there's probably no more evidence of that. So the warning is not planned to be extended into Nashville, but we do have a pretty loud thunderstorm that's going to move right over the area that it moved over last night. And it's got cloud to ground lightning, just like the one last night did. And it's got probably some gusty winds in here. There's one part of the storm that looks like it's blowing about 40 miles an hour at 2,000 feet. So some of those winds might reach the surface at about maybe 30 or so, 30 miles an hour. One of the things I was looking at before we got on was the area just north of Briley Parkway over by Fontenelle. According to MRMS radar, it estimated that almost 2.5 inches of rain fell in a pretty narrow area there. That area is pretty hilly over there. And we've got more rain incoming, and that might start to cause flooding issues for those of y'all who are commuting down 41 from Jolton to Fontenelle into Briley. This storm, when it gets there, and it should be there around 6:20, 6:30, will dump a lot of water, and then it'll move on into Bordeaux. It'll move on into Haines, over Chesapeake, Skyline, right where the 24-65 split is north of downtown. That area also got a lot of rain. It doesn't look to be a flash floody thing, at least not yet. It looks more like one of those aerial flood advisory type of issues where you get the flooding in the local spots. And all y'all who live out there know exactly which roads flood, which parts of the highway flood. And it would be brief and probably short lived. um, meaning it would only flood for a short time, and then the whole event would not go on for very long. But this storm itself, Andrew's showing you the um, the hail core, which was north of Dixon, or actually go through Dixon, but it looks like it's dropping off. And then there's some pretty heavy rain. And I think, unlike last night, I think Williamson County is going to get in on this. There's plenty of just heavy rain going on to the south of 40, and it should push in right at the worst time for commuters. So if you got a kid out at the bus stop, there's going to be lightning in this thing, and there's going to be really, really heavy rain. And it's going to be the kind that you can't really get underneath because it's just going to rain so hard that it's going to get your feet wet. So go ahead and head on inside if you can. It's already lightly raining now in the city. But there's a lot of CG lightning, probably even a little more than we saw last night. I'm looking at least 50 cloud to ground lightning strikes here in the last, gosh, 10 minutes we've had. So this is a very electrical system. But there's no indication that a severe thunderstorm warning is incoming for Nashville or even for Williamson County. That could change if these hail cores get higher.
Yeah, David. So we think
Yeah.
this will be. Jonathan's asking sort of an ETA to Nashville, so we're thinking here probably in the next 30 minutes or so. This thing will be in from the west. It's kind of coming right up I-40.
The
And
high-res lightning mapper is tracking 183 strikes.
Yeah, that's
so
about right.
it's pretty electrical. It'll be noisy coming in, so if your kids aren't awake yet, they very well might be by the time this comes through, just because it's loud. So again, as David mentioned, it doesn't look like they're going to be extending this into Nashville. Of course, we've seen that change before as storms have come in and they've pulsed upwards, and we've gotten a warning that's come out. But right now, they don't plan on extending that into Nashville. So let's take a look at velocities. There really was never a wind issue with this, but it looks it's been mostly a hail threat. And velocities really just aren't that impressive coming in, and the storm's heading right into, directly toward the Nashville radar. So it's got a good read on it, and we see winds here just 25, 30 miles an hour. This isn't a big wind deal, but again, going back over to the hail map, you can kind of see where make this a little bigger, so you can kind of see where. Go back in time, you see the yellows here, and that was radar indicating that we could get up toward 1-inch hail, and even go back a little further into Humphreys County, and there was some 1-inch hail being indicated there by radar. Now, whether that was actually reaching the ground, we don't know, but we haven't gotten any reports out of there. But as you go through time, you see that we're down to the blues. The yellows have fallen off, and we're down to the blues. Now, it doesn't make it much less of a noisy storm, but it sure helps the situation with your cars that are outside and stuff like that if we're not having that 1-inch hail fall. So radar is indicating now there could be half-inch hail falling. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's some smaller non-severe hail falling out of there. That's a good possibility, especially here in these reds. And looking over at a radar product that can kind of help us see if there's a mixture of precipitation types. So if there's hail and rain in there, not seeing just a huge signature of hail in there, but maybe a little bit. I wouldn't doubt at all that there's a little bit of hail falling out of that storm as it pushes in. So it looks like the strongest part of it will impact mostly Davidson County. It looks like, strongest part might clip northern Williamson too. But I'd say the further north you are in Williamson County, probably the stronger part of the storm is what you'll see. Spring Hill will likely see the least of the strongest part of the storm, being further south. But other than that, it doesn't look too impressive here at the moment.
This is a lot of lightning.
Yeah.
Like when you turn on, if you look at the left side of your screen there, right where all of the white things start to pull up. Those are the CG lightning strikes, and we don't ask the radar to display them until it gets inside that box,
Yeah,
that
this
red
red box.
box. And so I'm betting that as the storm moves into that box near Wrigley, that we're going to see more and more CG lightning come through. So this looks like a
Yeah,
pretty intense
we've already
lightning
gone.
maker.
We've already gone from 183 to 226 just in the 5 minutes
Okay.
that we've been talking.
Yeah, I think as more of them move in, the count will go up. I mean, look just down here on the southern edge. You see, as the storm comes into our range of our high res lightning, it's starting to light up here. So yeah, I bet you're right, David. I think down here is full of lightning. It's just not inside our box yet. Yeah, John says it's very loud, and he also says John had a good report here saying that the hail did not hit the ground, at least where he was in Dixon. So that's good to know. And the warning has just expired. So the severe thunderstorm warning is gone. But thanks for that report, John, out of Dixon, because that's good to know what you had going on out there. But yeah, definitely very loud. And Ginger's hearing maybe some thunder there in South Nashville, but definitely seeing the lightning. Yeah, Hayden asked if we could show the velocities. Yeah, this doesn't seem to be a wind issue. This storm, the Nashville radar up here northeast of town has a great read on this storm for velocities, and it's really not impressive. So we're not seeing big velocity spikes, and the Weather Service actually has just opted to issue a special weather statement on this storm, which is below the level of a severe thunderstorm warning. So it looks like they're opting for that instead of a new severe thunderstorm warning. So not seeing a wind issue, and the hail threat seems to have come down below severe levels. It takes 1 inch hail to get the severe threshold, and we're not hitting that right now, according to radar and according to reports like John, who says that he actually didn't experience hail in Dixon, but nonetheless, if there is hail falling, it's more than likely going to be well below severe threshold. So that's good. So we just got us a regular old thunderstorm here, and we'll take that any day over something severe. Let's back out
I
a little
don't
bit.
see anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
Some of the winds, when you go up, meaning up to 4,000 feet, some of these winds are running 50 miles an hour or stronger, but they don't make sense to me, at least, that they would be reaching the ground. But
Yeah.
this storm is going to get I-40 and south of I-40, unlike the one that woke most of the city up last night. I'm looking at TBNA radar, and it's got some velocities that are over 50 miles an hour, but they're closer to 2,000 feet. Everything else low to the ground is much more tranquil. But wow, this is good. This is not going to be a fun bus stop sit.
Let's zoom out, because there are some that are probably wondering about what else do we have coming. Let's back out just a little bit. Of course, there's rain up north of town, up in Robertson, Sumner County, Montgomery County. But looking west, kind of upstream from us, there's not a lot after this round. It's but it's going to be here kind of during those critical times, as David said, with your bus stop and stuff like that. And if you're commuting in the next hour or so. So it's going to be messy in Nashville, but looking back toward the Tennessee River, we get a break, it looks like. So that's good. This is kind of the main round for the next couple of hours.
Andrew, I'm looking at the HRRR. It shows some of that rain that is out west moving and missing us and going kind of north, but it also is trying to develop more showers to our west later in the morning and kind of scatter them in here. And then the whole system kind of moves away right around lunchtime.
Okay.
It's gone. So I think, like you said, I completely agree. This is like the big storm, but I think we might be off and on for at least through lunch, and I know that a lot of people are excited to get into the new stadium to watch the Nashville Soccer Club practice.
Yeah.
That we may have to dodge a few rain showers during that.
Hey,
But then, yeah.
what's the speed on the? I'm going to try to ETA. We're asking some ETAs. I'm going to pull that up. What do they have
Yeah,
in that
so
advisory?
in the advisory, well, in the warning, it was 31 knots. And then
Okay.
in the advisory, they put 44 knots.
Okay.
So that's obviously much faster.
So we're looking like 50 miles an hour, 45, 50 miles, 45, I guess.
Yeah, it's running a 257-degree vector at 44
The
knots in the significant weather
the
advisory.
advisory says 7 miles east of Dixon, moving east at 50.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I need to know
it's
here.
much faster. So I've been
Let's
using 44 knots in the radar software.
all right. Let's go. Let's go here, and it's generally moving about like this. We're just getting generals here, and let's go about at 42, just for kicks.
Yeah, it's moving slightly more northeast
Northeast.
than that, or east northeast. Yeah,
Okay. Well, let's redraw that
I
here.
don't think it's going to matter that much.
I don't think it is either, but let's just kind of all right. Let's just do this.
Yeah,
Do it like this. Let's do about 47. So you were asking about Antioch. I would say that would be somewhere around 6:45. It's probably 6:45 in Antioch. Be somewhere around 6:40 in Brentwood. Franklin about 6:40 as well. Bellevue 6:25. So coming up here in the next 5-10 minutes. The 2465 split up north of town 6:35 roughly. It's about another 15 minutes. And downtown, so up and down I-65 in the next 15 to 20 minutes is when you get the heavy rain.
I'm going to tweet those ETAs.
I just did.
Oh, okay, good.
I actually screenshotted Andrew's thing and put it into Twitter.
That's exactly what I did, but I had the
Nope.
wherewithal to clip out our faces.
No, our faces are in there. Sorry.
Y'all are getting the early morning version of
Yeah.
all of us here. So.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So did y'all's know weather radio work?
Did mine?
Yeah.
I don't have mine programmed to
I have mine
Dixon
programmed
County.
for
Dixon?
Dixon and
Oh,
Humphreys
okay.
counties. Yeah, it woke me up.
No, mine was. I actually had 5 o'clock alarm this morning, and then I saw your message. So
Yeah, well, the severe
it
woke
just
me up, which of course my phone went nuts too, as it always does.
I'm buying a new microphone, just for everybody that's giving me grief about it.
Yeah,
I'm getting a microphone that will make Andrew's look just puny and minuscule.
you need to get a massive one that like hangs from the ceiling.
It weighs 37 pounds.
I can make mine look. There we go.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't. It's a Yeti, blue Yeti caster with the arm like Andrew has, so I can pull it in close to my face like Wolfman Jack on the overnights.
Well, that'll be good. That'll be good to.
It's a shame that I got rid of the blue snowball. I mean, it's older than my children, and that would have been some comedy. Because that thing. By the way, you're right, Andrew. This reminds me of the Battle of Little Round Top at Gettysburg. How when Chamberlain was attacking the hill, he sent the first group up, and then he did the little fence maneuver with the swinging gate that comes through. It looks like the storm that's coming to Williamson County is just speeding and swinging down.
Yeah.
and
It's
moving
got
a
some
little bit
jet.
Yeah,
more
that's interesting
east.
because an hour ago it looked like this would all miss north of the Williamson Davidson County line to the
Yeah,
north, like mostly north of I-40, and it has sagged south more than I expected.
yeah, and that part south of Kingston Springs is really picking up some energy.
Yeah, look at the velocities in Fairview seeing
Yeah,
46 knots.
this is why I'm not too
2,000
excited about just
feet.
leaving the stream up because I think there's going to be some wind in there.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to go severe, but
Josh
yeah,
asked a good question here. He's just kind of coming in here and wondering what we're concerned about. So there was a severe thunderstorm warning in effect just to our west, and actually it bordered up against the western parts of Williamson County, and that ended up expiring. So we jumped on here just to kind of give a heads up about that warning, just in case it was extended into our two counties. It did not get extended, and it expired. And so we are just left with thunderstorms right now. They're a little noisy. They're pretty noisy. Lightning, cloud of ground lightning moving into western Davidson County. But we're going to stick with this because there could be some velocities or could be some wind with it in the velocities. Um, see some. It's not, down there at the ground level. It's not crazy. But there could be some wind gusts with it, and they have issued a kind of a special weather statement, just kind of outlining that we could see some breezes with it as it comes through. But right now, the big story with it is it's just going to be noisy. It's going to be loud with the cloud to ground lightning, and yeah, Lee is saying he's seeing some great cloud to ground from Fifth and Broad in Nashville. Um, so yeah, for sure, it's going to be loud, going to be noisy, and could actually be got another hail marker up here. Could be 3/4 inch hail. At least radar is indicating. That's still non-severe. It has to be quarter-sized, 1 inch hail for it to be severe. And we saw that indicated back over Dixon County. We have not seen that again since then. Actually, that was over Humphreys County. And as it moved east, it kind of fell apart, got smaller, and we're still seeing some indications of hail here, but um, not crazy. So that's the story. That's why we're here, and we're gonna stick with this just for a little bit and see kind of what it does. And David, did you have TBNA up over there? You were, I know, playing
yeah,
with
I've
it a
got it
minute
up
ago.
now.
I can pull it up as well. This is radar out of Nolensville. We're going to take a look at here.
I mean, I
Uh,
can share my screen, but it's probably going to hiccup like it did last night, and then take a minute.
well,
So I'm reluctant to do that.
let's see here. I think I've got it available.
I
There we
don't
go.
see anything on here that looks like severe wind. Um, it looks like TBNA's got a pretty good view of it as well. But the velocities that would be over 50 miles an hour are all over 2,000 feet.
Yeah.
And then they come way down once you get under. I was actually running through some mesoanalysis to see why. Because I wouldn't think there's very much cape at the surface that would cause an issue. I'm just
Yeah,
mostly curious
we'll
at this
wait for
point.
the morning weather balloon will show us if there's an inversion, which we would kind of expect this time of morning. That's not unusual, and that would keep strongest winds. It would sort of insulate us in some cases with these borderline severe thunderstorms.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it would sort of insulate us at the surface if there is what's called an inversion right off the surface, and we can tell that best from a weather balloon, and that's probably in the air right now, and they that will help us to understand a little bit better. But again, it's just not really a concern for us right now.
Yeah, so the SPC mesoanalysis page showed about anywhere between 80 and 100 of mixed layer cape and no surface based cape. And then I just pulled the wrap sounding, um, and it shows the same thing, no surface based cape, but there's plenty of cape aloft. So I think that would explain why some of these updrafts are still moving pretty well. And really, the hodograft is long and curved, but it's not I mean, there's no tornado concern here at all. So if you're worried about that, don't. The shear, yeah, I mean, it's there and it's got the right look, but it doesn't have all the other right ingredients to create a real serious concern. So I'll be really surprised if we get any severe wind out of this. Certainly not concerned about tornado. Um, but I think there might be just enough energy aloft to ping a few windows with that small kind of Haley um, stuff. People like, we always get those messages, especially when it's dark and it's still mostly dark. Um, they're like, it's hail, but I'm not going to get out of bed because it's dark and I can't really see, and you can't really see much out of it anyway. So I just think this is going to be a really, really difficult commute because this is a lot of water and that's a lot of lightning.
It's a lot of lightning. I mean, look at
mean,
that.
it's not. It reminds me of some of those summer thunderstorms that we get, where they're
Yeah,
just
it does.
huge lightning producers. But there are several positive lightning strikes in here.
There are. Those are
Um,
loud. Those are
yeah,
loud.
so just north of Charlotte Pike on I-40 in Nashville, there's 1, 2 strikes. There was one that was just north of Riverwalk. So, I mean, you're gonna hear those for sure. And I don't see down at any in Wilco yet, but I wouldn't be surprised to get any positive strikes there. So it's gonna wake you up and get your attention that this rain is coming in through I guess probably the worst of it will get to 65 right around between 6:45 and 7. So on the early side, the 6:45 side in Nashville, and then if you're commuting in from Wilco, probably closer to 7 a.m. It's going to be that really, really heavy rain with the most intense lightning. And it should last. I mean, it looks like the heaviest part of the line could last, depending exactly where you are, anywhere from like 10 minutes to a half hour. Um, so I think it's going to be, if you're in Brentwood or Franklin and you need to get into downtown, um, and you can do it right now, I might go now. I wouldn't want to be sitting in traffic. Not that it's particularly dangerous. It's just going to slow you down. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, this is our Nippers Corner camera, and it's you see the lightning every once in a while. It's not directly in view. You got the hills there. Those are to the left there. You saw that lightning strike. The hills of Oak Hill are in the foreground there of the storm, but you can kind of see in the distance there. You got the lightning coming in, so it's going to be noisy as it comes in the western part of Davidson County. So that's kind of the direction we're facing downtown here from Nippers Corner, which is down on the southeast side of town. So we're sort of looking up toward the storm, and the storm's kind of on the left side in western Davidson County. So that's kind of what you're looking at there. So it's not quite as dark now. So might be a little harder to see. Oh, nice cloud to ground strike there in view. So we'll see a lot more of that. We'll keep an eye on that.
The ENTLN lightning counter has 8,500 strikes, and the high res one has 777. That's not all at once. That's I think they record those in 30-minute increments, but that's a lot of lightning. Now up to 824 strikes as of So this is super electrical. So please, let's not be bus stopping in Nashville if we can avoid it. You need to get into an enclosed structure. And I have personal experience with this. I was in my car one time and lightning hit right next to the car while I was driving down the interstate, and it completely blew out the electrical circuitry. But I didn't feel anything because I was in an enclosed structure. Did I show you that TikTok I saw, Andrew, of the girl who went to the Yankee game
Yes.
and tried to get Aaron Judge's signature, and she didn't, and then they called the game early for weather, and then they were exiting out, and she was standing under a tree, and she and her father got hit by lightning, and she had this, like, horrible scar on her neck. Like, this stuff's legit, and everybody's like, "Well, I'll just go stand under this tree, it'll hit something taller." Well, all you're doing is standing under a target.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Let's see here.
tweeted a bad YouTube Live link, so I'm sorry about that. Let's see.
Oh,
So that's why some people on Twitter.
yeah. Grab the one that we first tweeted. It should 26 minutes ago.
Yeah. No, I did it. This guy on Twitter was like, "Hey, it's not working," and it's because I sent you the wrong link. It's my fault.
This is a T-Dot camera here from Whitebridge Road, and so those of you that live out there, and a couple of you have commented, it's quite there's quite a bit of lightning for sure.
Yeah, Andrew, go into Twitter and look at the one. I'm not sure that link is working.
All right. Yeah, the one from 27 minutes ago is working. That has our logo. That one's working.
The one that you slacked at 6:02?
No. The one that I tweeted at
Oh,
6:07.
I'm an idiot. Okay.
No problem.
Let me go into Twitter and clean that up, because I hate it when I click on a link and it doesn't work. I can't imagine what everybody else is feeling. So
Yeah, try that link from 6:07.
yeah, okay.
All right, let's go back to radar. Let me pull that up here. Cool. All right. Yeah, so the noisiest part of this storm right now is up here in western Davidson County. It's even bowed out a little bit, but we're not seeing that that's caused by, I mean, that's about as unimpressive as wind velocities can get. So the bow there is not due to surface winds that are pushing it out. It might be aloft, but not down here at the surface. So that's good. It's always good to see reports from people who are watching from west of us because they've been through this, and so lots of lightning and rain in Dixon from about 5:30 to 6, and we've gotten several reports of the power flashing in Fairview and western Davidson County toward Bellevue. So that's so that makes sense. This lightning will wreak havoc with power.
I mean, seriously, this looks like the when you go to the ice cream shop and you ask for all the sprinkles with all of the colors of lightning on this product here.
It reminds me of the July Garth Brooks storm.
Yeah, it does. It really is that much lightning.
We just call it the Garth Brooks storm now.
Isn't he having a show this weekend?
Is that right?
I think I saw that somewhere. Somebody asked me about the Garth show, because I remember when they announced the rescheduled date, I was like, oh yeah, it never storms in mid-April. That's when they rescheduled it.
Got some pea-sized hail in Bellevue, it looks like. That doesn't surprise me at all. You can kind of see radar's indicating a little bit of hail up there from around the Nations up to Bordeaux. This is just an approximation. Take this with a grain of salt. However, it looks like it's usually pretty close, unless the storm is way tilted. But it looks like we could have some small hail. Yeah, dip back down toward Bellevue, Forest Hills. So Forest Hills, Oak Hill could see some hail here in a little bit. And it looks like the storm is pretty tilted out to the east because it's showing hail toward Forest Hills, and that's not happening. The hail's going to fall back here to the west a little bit. But this reads the column of the storm, and usually they're tilted to the east like this. And so your hail's going to be falling back in here. And yeah, we do see some
Yeah,
indications
there's
of
hail.
there's a little bit of small hail mixed in there back
Andrew,
here.
pull back out and look at the cell building behind it near
Back here in Dixon
McEwen.
County.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, McEwen. Yeah. Okay, got it.
McEwen and Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
It's now starting to pick up with lightning.
Okay. On the
So
on the national product here. Let's see.
yes.
Yeah.
And so my concern is we got a lot of rain north of Briley over by Fontenelle last night. And if we're also going to produce a bunch of lightning, we're probably going to get another big old downpour back there. So I'm wondering if we're going to start to see some of those streets in East Nashville fill up with some water, probably around 7, 8 o'clock. It doesn't look quite flash flooded yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I noticed. I think I got an alert that White's Creek, I think, came up, and let's see here. Yeah, White's Creek in Bordeaux last night. Well, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I got up near action stage in Bordeaux, so that water's got to go somewhere, and it went into White's Creek early this morning. So that's up here, right around here, and they're
Yeah.
getting heavy rain now. So for sure, that's a concern for a little bit later on. Still seeing indications of maybe some small hail and still lots of lightning over there coming into Oak Hill now. So I'm going to pull up the Oak Hill camera. Let's see here. Yeah, not seeing anything crazy on it. Just some distant lightning. Dennis, I'd like some hot coffee too. Except I'm out of K cups at the moment, so I'll have to go do it the old-fashioned way.
Go get the ground thing.
We've accumulated bags of coffee, but that means you have to get the grinder out and wake everybody up. So before we went on, everybody was still
That's not going to
asleep.
be a problem here pretty soon. The lightning's going to take care of that.
We'll take care of that. But when we came on, everybody was still asleep, and I didn't want to wake the whole house up with a coffee grinder.
Looks like Green Hills is getting the worst of it right now. They've got looks like a dozen CG strikes in the last 5 minutes, and that's going to move into Berry Hill, into Oak Hill here in the next few minutes, over by Lipscomb and get into Melrose and up to Rosedale and eventually over to the airport. I'll be surprised if any planes are trying to land in this. Now it'll be in and out and won't cause much of an issue, but East Nashville, Shelby Park, y'all are gonna. Doesn't look like you're quite as electrical as you were, but yeah, for sure you're still gonna get some lightning coming into Madison, coming into even up to Rivergate. You might get a few strikes, but it looks like the heaviest rain and the most frequent lightning activity has kind of shifted closer to downtown Nashville, inside 440 down to Oak Hill. In fact, Oak Hill Cam is probably going to have the best view of it, although I'm not sure what kind of picture we're going to get because it's going to, that rain's going to blow up on the lens. And even though we have some CG strikes over ahead of the storm, which is to say right near Franklin Road, near Concord Road, there's looks like 5 cloud to ground strikes there that are ahead of it. So I know some people usually don't move to shelter until it starts to rain because they think that the lightning can only get them when it's raining. This isn't true. This lightning can and has and will probably continue to strike out ahead of the first drops. So if you hear the thunder, go ahead and get inside because the lightning doesn't always hit where it's raining. It sometimes comes out ahead. But yeah, just we got the note here. Somebody's like, the cloud to ground lightning is insane at Bellevue. Yeah, that's the part of the storm that's moving across Forest Hills, and it's going to move into Creve Hall, Oak Hill, eventually BNA and Antioch, and that'll be the heaviest rain. The zoo is going to get it pretty good, and there's even a positive strike mixed in there that hit at 6:39, so 5 minutes ago. That was just to the southwest of the Green Hills Mall, between the mall and Belmead. So yeah, this is nature's alarm clock for sure.
Yeah, here's the Midtown camera, and of course, the heavy rain has just arrived. Hang on, let me make that bigger. Rain has just arrived downtown, and of course, usually you can see more buildings than this, but this is what we've got downtown. So we're facing east here toward the middle of downtown, and definitely a lot of lightning there. Again, if you're just joining us, non-severe. This was severe back to our west. There was large hail being indicated on radar back in Humphreys County, and as it moved east, the hail came down. Now, some of y'all are still getting hail as this comes through Metro, but it's not severe hail. It's smaller hail, enough to wake you up. You hear it on your window, the roof, but it's not severe. So that's while we're on. There was that severe thunderstorm warning back to the west of us, but we're sort of watching this as it comes through, just because we know a lot of you are going to be waking up, and whether it be the hail or the lightning or whatever it is, especially over here in Inglewood, David, this is, I mean, there's just a lot of lightning over there, a lot of cloud to ground strikes in Inglewood and up toward Madison. So it's, in fact, really spectacular strike just now on the Oak Hill camera that I've got off screen here. So, and that was actually, this is I-65 over on the bottom right of your screen. You see the headlights from I-65. They're just east of Franklin Road, and just above that was where that lightning strike was. So really, kind of a cool image, but it's noisy and it's loud, and it's luckily moving through fairly quickly.
Yeah, I think it's going to linger a little bit in Wilco just because of the way it's built. It
Yep.
looks like it's because what it's doing is it's the line developed south, but it still has to move east northeast. So it's not moving kind of like a truck that would move straight through at a constant rate. It's developing and moving as it goes. It's growing as it goes, so it's not going to move as quickly through. And it looks like if you're in Spring Hill, you're going to miss out. Like, I still think it's possible lightning could reach you, but this looks like it's more interested in Franklin, Brentwood, Nolensville, Antioch, Grief Hall, Percy Priest. If for whatever reason you're out on the lake, do not be on the lake. Y'all head on in. I mean, it's raining there now, and I'm sure you hear the thunder, but these are not good times to be out on the res. Not that I don't. I guess this is prime fishing time, I would guess. But what do I know?
Yes, it is, and I've been in that situation before, and it's not a whole lot of fun. So I've
And to
got,
clarify, there's no tornado risk.
yeah. Pull the camera back up. So we're looking from this camera here. We're looking north. We are directly between Franklin Road and I-65. You could probably throw a football into each, and you're facing north toward downtown Nashville. So the lighting was a little bit more spectacular earlier when it was darker, and now that it's a little bit brighter, it's a little harder to see. It's definitely there. and it's able to wake you up and wake your family up this morning. But we're looking north here, and we somewhat frequently are seeing some pretty vibrant lightning strikes there in Oak Hill. Pull that back down. Let's go back to radar, David, and looks like radar is indicating still maybe some small hail around Oak Hill. It's going to be just north. Our camera's right here. And so up north of our camera, there could be a cell of maybe some hail up there. But again, not too crazy. Velocities are staying under control. Not seeing anything here in velocities that's necessarily concerning. But we're seeing these kind of the smattering of hail cores that, again, it's not large hail. It's barely pinging the radar here. Maybe some down here in southwestern Williamson County too. But even that, it's not that big. We're looking at maybe pea size, shot size hail as it comes through both counties. Really, could be up to maybe, I don't know. I don't even think it's dime size. So pretty small stuff.
I'm playing with the 6Z run of the HER model to try to time out the severe event for tomorrow night. And it looks like that 7 a.m. to 2, I'm sorry, let me back up. Wednesday, 7 p.m. to Thursday, 2 a.m. looks like a pretty good window. The HER brings the line in right at 10 o'clock on Wednesday night for severe, which was what it said last night and what the NAM said last night. So I think the forecast is going to be pretty much unchanged for tomorrow, where we get a little bit of rain in the morning and then get a line of storms. The forecast sounding doesn't look too scary. It's definitely a severe event potential to our west, but there's question as to whether or not the line will weaken as it gets to us. So we'll talk way more about that today and tomorrow, but just if you're wondering and while you're here, it looks like that's the next real severe concern. So rain this morning, we got to get through this thunderstorm, then maybe some few showers before lunch, and then clearing out until really this time tomorrow morning. We'll have some more rain and maybe a few non-severe storms. And then we clear out on Wednesday afternoon, and then Wednesday night we look out west for a line. Storm Prediction Center is very concerned about it for those out to our west, but it looks like they believe it will weaken as it gets closer to us on Wednesday night. So let's hope that's true. Again, ETA will be 7 p.m. Wednesday to 2 a.m. Thursday, with the models right now showing the line of potentially severe storms tomorrow night coming in around 10. So, and I'm sure that will change, but that's just what it looks like now. So, but let's get through these thunderstorms first, Andrew. I don't.
No, that's
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot going on here. The lightning has spread out. In fact, I think the lightning has even it may have come down just a smidge. We've got, I don't see quite as many white. There's clusters of little white strikes here, and there's still a lot of, I'm sure, cloud to cloud lightning. There might be just a tad of the thing coming down a little bit, but again, we've got strikes way out ahead of the rain here. So here's your, in fact, the radar looks a little less vibrant than it did, a little less organized, I guess. But if you turn radar off, we've got radar strikes way out here on Percy Priest Lake. And so a lot of times what happens here, David, is with the lightning strike here. So there'll be one strike, but it'll show up as kind of a cluster here. And so that may not have actually been 6 lightning strikes there. That may have just been one forked lightning or whatever, but it shows up as 6. So I'm not entirely sure they're being bombarded on just this one little spot of Percy Priest Lake way out ahead of the rain. But nonetheless, it does, it shows us that there's lightning hitting out there, and that's out ahead of the heaviest rain. So whoever was out on the lake is probably not anymore, and that's a good thing. We don't want them to be out there in this. We want them to get to the shore and get in, and that's so because there is heavy rain to the west and more lightning to come.
I see a little bit of a hail spike on the hail products down at Leaper's Fork.
Yeah.
And move into West Haven and then into Franklin, but it doesn't look all that impressive.
Well, and the hail, the small hail that's up there, that's going to keep the lightning going because there's a lot of science that goes into lightning, but when you have this ice up there and you have that that will contribute to the heavy lightning rates, and we saw that last night in Arkansas and areas back to the west of us where they had some very large hail out there, and I was seeing some videos, and the lightning was just incredible out there where those severe storms were last night back in Arkansas. And a lot of that is due to what's going on up there, and you got all this hail, and that can really bring your lightning rates up when you have all that happening up in the cloud like that. So so that's kind of where we're getting a little bit of the leftovers of that this morning, I think, David, is kind of what was back in Arkansas last night late.
Yeah, but I'm with you. It does look like it's coming down a little bit. I mean, there's still plenty of it, but it looks like the new strikes are all going to be either east or southeast of downtown Nashville. But man, it's still going pretty strong down
Yeah.
in Bellevue.
Yeah, it is. I think it's proving itself. If there's anything that we can kind of see here, that's there's a lot of good news with this storm. I don't see anything that would that tells me that from the severe thunderstorm warning earlier back in Dixon County that it's re-strengthening, that it's that it's getting its act together again to where we might have warnings. I don't see anything like that. The hail sizes aren't. I mean, they're coming up and going down a little bit, but again, we're staying sub-severe. And even with the 1-inch hail that we saw back in Humphreys and mostly Humphreys County moving into Dixon County, I don't even think we got any reports out of that. So hopefully all of that was just radar indicated. We didn't get anything at the ground. So David, I'm not seeing anything that indicates that this storm is reorganizing or would pose a threat for our traditional severe parameters here in either of our counties.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a lightning storm.
Yeah.
Which, if I'm at it, and I'm not real happy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. Still CG lightning maker.
Well, David, what do you say we hop off of here and we get some coffee and we let these people go to work, and be careful out there. I mean, don't send your kids out in a lightning storm to the bus stop. So wait till this comes through and it's clearly moving away from you before you go outside. But we got some more behind this, but it doesn't look all that impressive.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll send a tweet. It's not garden variety, but it's certainly not severe, and not really worried about it unless you're outside flying a kite.
Yeah. Well, let's not do that. I don't know. That sounds like fun. All right, guys, we're going to jump off of here, and y'all have a good morning, and we'll get back on if any other severe weather pops up later tomorrow, anytime like that. Just expect us back here, and we'll tweet a link, and you can jump in and join us. Otherwise, you guys have a great rest of the day. Talk to you later.